Yes. Okay. Harihi Om Sahana Bhavato Sahano Bhunakto Sahaviryan Garavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we are on page number 17. Idha. The fuel. So the best fuel for kindling the sacrificial fire is dry cow dung. Then you can have the wood, which can be cut to the size of the kunda, and some should be cut to the size of one pradesha. One pradesha is from the tip of your thumb to the tip of your little finger. So approximately 9 inches. One should avoid using any type of second-hand wood, that is orange crates, old chairs, etc. Wet wood, wood from a dirty place, wood contaminated by impure items, wood eaten by worms, wood with thorns, or wood with bitter, milky, or sour sap, such as nimba, which is neem, banyan, or pine wood. So any other kind of wood you can use. Because I don't know where in this part of the world what kind of, you don't get mango wood, do you?
Mango, yeah, some plants and all comes from India for furniture and all.
Right.
So we have some our devotees, they are carpenters.
Mm.
So they provide us. And we use teak wood actually.
Yeah.
So we are using the
Okay, that's good. Mango is good, jackfruit is good. See, tulasi burns very fast and it's very thin, so it's not very long lasting for doing yajna. Like we have for in Narasimha Chaturdashi time, we bring the kunda is as big as, yeah, probably as big as the mat, the inside of the kunda. It's 80 inches, no, it's, yeah, it's 80 inches circle. So 80 inches is what? 6 feet. I know like 6, 7 of us could just like sleep inside there. It's huge and it's this high from the ground. And we use about 500 kg of wood and then we have this huge pile of tulasi. And while we are doing the ahuti, sometimes we just take like bunches like this, put it inside, and it's gone. Nothing left. Like camphor. So when we are doing the wood, then this is the kind of wood that we'll be using. Or you can also use dry cow dung. Possible to get cow dung here?
Yeah, I have some.
You have some home, means there are cows in Bahrain?
Here I have. You asked something like flakes.
Okay, yes.
Cows are here, but they are not like our Indian cows.
Cows are there.
Cows are there.
So you get Holstein or Okay.
But here they feed
Fish bones. Yeah. Huta, the oblations. Normally, the oblations offered into the fire consists of ghee, barley, and black sesame seeds. Although one can add other ingredients such as gur. You understand gur? Jaggery. Dry fruits, durva grass, camphor, lotus seeds, etc. In some yagyas, it is prescribed that one should offer charu. This is like a thick sweet rice. This is made in two ways. One can either make a sweet charu, which is basically the same as sweet rice with raisins, cardamom, etc. Or one can make the charu as one makes khichdi. In both cases, one should add extra ghee so that the offering burns easily in the fire. Yes. But it's hard. No, it's thick. Thick. Yes. In the final offering, one may offer fruits, new cloth, haritaki, pan leaves, betel nuts, flowers, navaratna, etc. The remnants of the purnahuti may be accepted as prasad after the yajna, as this final oblation is an offering to the Lord for his satisfactions. One's karma does not contaminate the final offering. We have this situation many times in Mayapur. That let's say we did this initiation homa, and especially when Jayapataka Maharaj gives initiation, is like 2,000, 3,000 people. So we have multiple yagya kundas. And in each yagya kunda, about 50 devotees are sitting. And many times devotees, they say, "Oh Prabhu, can you push my banana more inside the fire so it burns?" What's the point with that? "Oh no, all my karma is inside the banana. So when that burns in the fire, all my karma will get burnt." It's like, that does not work like that. Or they say, no, what's around the yagya kunda you should not touch because it has a lot of karma. So this is bogus. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, yajna sishta. One should eat yajna sishta. One who is not eating yajna sishta is eating pap. So then what's offered in yajna should be accepted as Mahaprasadam. Is generally once the fire goes down, you have this baked bananas, or some yeah. Those are nice. It's very tasty. Yes. Okay. No, this is not. See, this is the yantra, which is of the Rasa Mandala. This is not Goloka Mandala. I can, I should have it on my phone. Anybody has Satkriya Saradipika? So at the back of Satkriya Saradipika, you will see it's there. No? Anyway, I can show you later. Oh, I thought it was there. Anyway, I can show you later. Any other questions from yesterday's class? Yes.
But we've seen that this is happening in ISKCON, probably everywhere. Why these practices are being followed in spite of the fact that
See, there are a few answers to this. One is lack of knowledge. That our acharyas did mention this. Because, see, deity worship in Gaudiya Sampradaya and in ISKCON, being part of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, is not very prominent. Srila Prabhupada has given a lot of emphasis on preaching, book distribution, chanting, but there is not that much emphasis given on the deity worship. That emphasis is less. So, most of the devotees, they are not attracted to deity worship. I think I mentioned this yesterday or maybe to somebody else. I was speaking, we had a meeting with the deity worship ministry, and we had these Matajis who were pujaris during Prabhupada's time. So Prabhupada had personally trained them. And I mentioned, it was painful, I mentioned that nowadays in ISKCON, the idea is, if you may be completely useless person. If you are smart, then you are part of the management, you are going out preaching, you are doing fundraising. If you are useless, if you can't do any of these things, you are not so smart, then they put you in the kitchen. Go, do seva in the kitchen. You cannot even do kitchen work. You cannot even feed the devotees. You are the most useless person. Then, okay, he can become a pujari. He doesn't know how to do anything, he can become a pujari. At that time they told me something very shocking. They said, oh, I thought they become Gurukul teachers. Because then I contemplated, which is actually true. Somebody who was like used for nothing, he couldn't even become a pujari. Okay, make him Gurukul teacher. Yeah, so we actually have a lot of problem in Gurukul because of this attitude. And even, I don't know, how to say, in India we have a lot of problems with pujaris because Mayapur and Vrindavan is a different story. But otherwise, it's just people who can't do anything become pujari. Too old to do anything. You see all these South Indian temples, all the pujaris, most of the temples, all these very old people. Or if they're young, then they are all this crippled or, not very smart, who couldn't make it to become an engineer or a doctor or like that. Okay, he can become a pujari. Yeah, the smart ones, they don't become pujaris. So that's kind of the mentality. So therefore, then the knowledge is not very prominent. Yeah. How many devotees actually study Prabhupada's books? Even though Prabhupada was emphasizing so much, read my books, one of the last things he mentioned was, everything is fine. My only complaint is my disciples are not reading my books. Right? So it is still there. And apparently some devotees, they did some statistics and they said, just have a wild guess how many percent of ISKCON devotees read Prabhupada books on regular basis, like on daily basis. What would be, how many percent? 10%. You are close, 3%. 3% of ISKCON devotees read Prabhupada books on daily basis. So, when you're not reading Prabhupada books, what to speak of Acharya books? And because of that, then there is lack of knowledge, and because of lack of knowledge, sometimes you see, you go to other sampradayas where deity worship is very prominent. For example, the Shris, it's very, very prominent. The Madhvas is very prominent. Everywhere, actually, all sampradayas, deity worship is quite prominent. And then they see something, and then you're like, oh wow, let me follow that. Let me do that. And therefore, there is always, the pujaris in ISKCON, they are always on the back foot. Because we don't know much about deity worship. Yeah, so therefore it's like this, it's there. No, because Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur only say those who are interested to go to Goloka Vrindavan. Not that every Gaudiya Vaishnava will go to Goloka Vrindavan or is interested in going to Goloka Vrindavan. Somebody may just want to go up to Vaikuntha. Somebody may want to go to Dwaraka. Somebody may want to go to Ananda Vrindavan. Somebody may want to go to Vilasa Vrindavan, Vaibhava Vrindavan, where Radha Krishna are Swakiya Bhav. They are husband and wife. They are not Parakiya. It's only Goloka Vrindavan where there is the Parakiya Bhav. Nowadays, it's a new fashion having this Radharani in a small baby form. Like you have Laddu Gopal, and you also have Radharani with both her hands, crawling like that. And then they put Laddu Gopal and Laddu Radha, small Radharani together. And this is total nonsense. None of the acharyas have spoken about it. But, in Raval they put a deity like that of Radharani, which I can understand. It's in Raval, worship like that. The Radharani is a small girl, she was born there. Okay. You want to worship Radharani with that bhav? Okay. But then having Laddu Gopal and Radharani in that, what rasa is that? Because Radharani, when she first time saw Krishna, that's when she opened her eyes. When she opened her eyes, the whole place there was a storm. Nobody could see anything. And immediately Radha and Krishna became Kishore. They were not babies anymore. They became Kishore. They left, got married in Bhandirvan. So having this, Laddu Gopal and this small Radharani, both of them toddlers crawling around and worshipping them like that, who does that? So it's a misconception. But it's something new, something different. So devotees get attracted and they start worshipping like that. But what is your bhav? Yeah. Many times, for example, what is our relationship with Radha and Krishna? Having a deity of Radha and Krishna, what is my relationship? Is it Shanta? Is it Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya? What is it? You need to develop a taste. If you're Shanta, you're just appreciating, oh wow, Krishna is so strong, so beautiful, so handsome, so talented, so intelligent, so, mischievous, whatever. You appreciate. Then you're like, oh, I would like to serve this particular person who is so handsome, so beautiful, so clever, so attractive, so whatever. Or, oh, I would like to be friend with this particular person, or I would like to have him as my beloved child, or I would like to have him as my husband, as my lover. What is my relationship? So one time we were doing deity installation, and I asked this question to His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. I asked, whenever we are doing deity installation, we always have, let's say, Radha Madhava, Radha Giridhari, Radha Bhairanishwar, Radha Gopinath, Radha Govinda, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha this, Radha that. The name of Radharani does not change. It's always Krishna's whose name changes. Why? And there was Jananivas Prabhu, Bhaktivedanta Swami and Radhanath Maharaj. They were all like, never thought of that one before. And then they thought a little bit, and then Radhanath Maharaj, he said, our relationship with Radharani is that of Dasya. It does not change. She is our master. But with Krishna, it could be anything. He could be Giridhari, he could be Shyam-Sundar, he could be Gopijana Vallabh, he could be whatever. But with Radharani, our relationship does not change. Therefore, all the deities is Radha Madhava, Radha Govinda, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Gopinath. Radharani remains the same. So similarly, because Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Srimati Radharani, our relationship with Mahaprabhu does not change. It's dasya. Our relationship with Narasimhadev is no way you're going to be, hey buddy, how are you feeling today? Let me clap on your shoulders and you run. No. Hare Krishna Prabhu. From a distance, hello. Right? So it's dasya. It doesn't go beyond that. You don't hear Narasimhadev, some devotees worshipping Narasimhadev in Sakhya Bhav. Even Lakshmi Devi, she is there in Dasya Bhav. Even though she is, on the level of Madhurya, but the prominence is Dasya. With Ramachandra, it's Dasya. Krishna Balaram, you can have whatever relationship you want. So, based on that, now what do you want? So how far you want to go in your relationship with Krishna? So that determines where you want to go in the spiritual world. For example, Bhishma Dev, he wanted to fight with Krishna. He's not interested in, playing, with him on the banks of Yamuna. So he went to Parthasarthi Loka. He's one of the Mahajans. He went to Parthasarthi Loka, where he's there with Krishna using bows and arrows and fighting, and then they go and hang out and they come out next day morning and again they are fighting. And so that's the chivalry mood. Therefore, now based on that, so for those devotees who are interested to go to Goloka Vrindavan, you don't need to do all these things. But that does not mean you are not a Gaudiya Vaishnava. Murari Gupta Prabhu was a devotee of Lord Ramachandra, but he is definitely a Gaudiya Vaishnava. He does not become a Ramanandi or a Shri or a somebody else. No, he's a Gaudiya Vaishnava. Just his focus is on Ramachandra. So that's where it's not that it's taboo, it's banned. No, you can do, but just that means you are not interested to go to Goloka.
So that can also mean that you have already a relationship established with Krishna.
Yeah.
Like you have transcended bhava, above the bhava. That's why you don't consider Radha Krishna as just a deity, because there is a relationship. That could be one reason.
Yeah.
So one more thing. Thank you for bringing out this topic. There is a big, hot, big topic which we also talk about, which you clarified, but I just want to get one pointed answer against this. Some of the devotees in ISKCON, they consider Radharani as mother. How do you accept this, as per our understanding of Tattva?
I don't know. Was it Radhama? Never seen Radharani with a lion behind and Trishul and giving. I don't know. Because Radha and Krishna.
So you mentioned it is servant, Dasya.
Yeah.
So in Dasya,
Yeah. I don't know. Yes. 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 That's why I said I don't know. I can't answer that question. There are devotees who have this concept, as calling Radharani as mother and calling Krishna as father. So I can't answer this question because there is no pastime, at least in my knowledge, where Radharani is blessing somebody. Okay, like you are like my child. She is a Kishori. She, so I don't know. That's why I can't answer that question. I would also question why you are having Narasimhadev. Okay, Ramachandra? Prabhupada installed in Juhu. What about Balaji? Balaji is not Krishna. But his mood is not that of Gaudiya. See, what happens is, now, somehow or other, many devotees are very against Laddu Gopal, worship of Laddu Gopal, because that's Vatsalya Bhav. First of all, we need to understand who are we in connection to Krishna. That will happen in a very, very advanced level that we can understand, or at least get attracted towards the Lord in a particular way. So, if Murari Gupta Prabhu can worship Lord Ramachandra and be a Gaudiya Vaishnava, why can't I worship Laddu Gopal and be a Gaudiya Vaishnava? Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, see, what is Gaudiya Vaishnava? Fine. So Radharani is our ultimate authority. Then we following Srimati Radharani means we are performing devotional service on the mood of gopis or manjaris. Right? Seva bhav is there. So now we take Krishna as the Lord if we are in the manjari bhav, or means he's the master, or as a lover if we are in the gopi bhav. No, why not recommended? For Lalita Devi, Vishakha Devi, Krishna is the lover. But Radharani is the best of those devotees, of those gopis who love Krishna. Therefore, Lalita Devi, Vishakha Devi, they support her. There is a place in Braj, is called Uncha Gaon. Over there, Radharani was so happy with Lalita Devi's dedication towards her that she got Krishna married to Lalita Devi. How is that possible? Radharani knows all these gopis, they want to marry Krishna. They all love him. That's why there is, some groups that they are against the group of Srimati Radharani. There is a jealousy. Chandravali Devi, what is she doing? She's trying to attract Krishna, right, towards her camp. Now, Lalita Devi, she also has her own kunja. But she has decided that what makes Krishna happy the most is him staying with Srimati Radharani. Therefore, she's always supporting Srimati Radharani. Otherwise, how will there be Lalit Madhava? There is a pastime of Narada Muni asking Lalita Devi to sit on the swing with Madhava instead of Srimati Radharani. And there was a huge misunderstanding because of that, and there are huge pastime that followed from there. But they all have this loving affection towards Krishna. No. I'm trying to explain Gaudiya Siddhanta. ISKCON, not ISKCON, that's a different story. No. Okay, no problem. Yeah, because that's how to say a Sampradayik understanding It's a very different topic. Anyway, we can discuss that later. Any other question from yesterday's class? No. Okay. It is understood that the spiritual master takes on the reaction of his dependents as explained in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, quoting the Niti Shastra. Rajanam Rashtakritam Papam, Rajapapam Purohitam, Bharatanam Strikritam Papam, Shishya Papam Gurum Vrajet. The sins of the citizens are suffered by the king's sins by the Rajaguru, the wife's sins by the husband, and the disciple's sins by the Guru. Huh? Yeah, sadhana. It's not my fault. I just got married to her, not my fault. See, there was one incident happened one time. His name is Jayapataka Maharaj. He called me. He said, I'm getting disturbed by the asuras from Patala Loka. Can you do something? I was like, okay. So I said, okay, Maharaj, will perform Sudarshan Kavacha and Sudarshana Homa. So we did that, like touching Maharaj's different parts of his body, and took us like 1.5 hours just to do the Kavacha, and then the Homa another 3 hours, and he was fine after that. And then there was a little research done. Why were these asuras from Patala coming and harassing? It's because there was one devotee, somebody did black magic on him. And then Maharaj gave him initiation. So, Shishya Papam Gurum Vrajet. Because of that, because he gave initiation to this particular devotee, that reaction from him came on Maharaj. And because of that, the asuras, they came and started harassing him. Huh? They transferred. So, it was there. His situation right now, he's in the wheelchair, not able to stand, and this, because he got like 70,000 disciples. And not everybody is clean. So he does take on the reactions of the disciples. But he is Jayapataka Swami. He goes on, nothing stops him. Any questions in relation to oblations? Huta? Which one, Prabhuji? The sense of the citizens? See, the reason that whole section is here, because trying to clarify that the ahutis, the Purnahuti, which is there, it's not your karmic reactions. You can eat that. So we are giving a Shastric quotation, what happens to the karmic reaction. So in there, and it says the sins of the citizens are suffered by the king. I think it's 6. Yeah, something like that. The king's sins by the Rajaguru. The wife's sins by the husband. And the disciple's sins by the guru. Because the person is responsible for the king is responsible for the citizens. The husband is responsible for the wife. The guru is responsible for the disciples. So therefore, if they do something wrong, then you have to suffer the consequences. For husband and wife is 50. If a husband does something good, pious activity, wife automatically gets 50% benefit. If husband does sinful activity, wife gets nothing. If wife does sinful activity, husband gets 50% karmic reaction for that. If wife performs pious benefit, husband gets nothing. Huh? See, we have always heard the aspect of dharmapatni. The wife should be religious, and everybody is looking for a dharmapatni. But she can only become dharmapatni when husband is gurupati. He has to lead by example. He cannot consider, he cannot like, okay, I can do whatever I want to, but the wife has to be religious. I can be nonsense, but she has to do everything proper. No, she is just a, how to say, a reflection of the husband. If you want wife to do something, the husband should do that. If you are Krishna conscious, wife will naturally follow. In general cases, unless they are like, oh, I don't want to do it. Tea or me, I'll take the tea. So that's not a general case. General case is, okay, if the husband is devotional, wife generally takes on to devotional activities. His husband is sinful, wife generally takes on to the sinful activities. So that has to be. Huh? Yeah, if you are worried about the sin from the wife, don't get married. Ritvik, yes. This is Chanakya Niti 10.6. Ritvik. So these are not the Bangalore people. It just means the priest. So yajna may involve the following 4 priests, or ritvik. Ritvik means representatives. Okay. So the first one is hotri, the priest who invokes and worships the Lord through the medium of the fire. So his job is to offer the ahuti in the fire and to make sure that the fire is always lit. So time to time add wood to it, add ghee in it, make sure it doesn't go down. That's the job of the ritvik. Sorry, the hotri. Udgatri, the priest who leads the chanting of mantras. Advaryu, the priest who prepares and installs the paraphernalia and ignites the sacred fire. He sees to the smooth running of the ceremony. So he becomes like an assistant to the hotri. He prepared everything. He built the yagya kunda, did the rangoli, installed the kalasha, all those things he does. And then when the yajna starts, he's the one, he's, okay, there is need of ghee. Okay, so Advaryu goes, brings the ghee, or, let's stack the wood, more wood in the fire. So Advaryu does, that's his job. And fourth one is Brahma, the master of the ceremony. He sees that all the mantras are recited properly, corrects any errors that occurs during the proceedings, and sees to the proper stocking of the fire. So Brahma is responsible to make sure that the Hotri, Advaryu and Udgata, they are doing their job properly. So he's in charge Prabhu. Sometimes you also see in this more elaborate ceremonies like, let's say, deity installation. You also have an Acharya who sets the mood for the entire community. So for example, like Jayapataka Maharaj, when he is there, everybody comes on time for the classes, everybody is more enthusiastic, oh, Maharaj is going to come. So the whole atmosphere kind of lifts up, because he's guru, he's an acharya. So that is the job of an acharya, to make sure he's not involved, he's not the manager, but by his presence he keeps the whole the atmosphere surcharged of devotional activity. If there are only 3 priests, there will be the Advaryu, Udgata and Hotri. If only 2, the Udgatri and Hotri, and if the 1, then the Hotri. So then Hotri has to do the job, or he also has to chant the mantra, he also has to stack the fire, and make sure, so he has to do all those things. Any question? Yes. Yes, so minimum should be 1. If you have 2, then it's helpful because somebody can chant the mantras. So you can just worry about the fire, and so if there is 3, then you can focus more. If there is 4, then everybody has their own set of things, and you can be very, very focused in your personal activity. So having 4 Brahmins is good. Okay. Yagya Yudha, we will skip that because I would have to show the spoons how they look like, so then it becomes more clear on what it is. Yes. Yes. Mangal Ghat, the auspicious pot. Ghata Sthapana is the procedure for establishing the auspicious spot, Mangal Ghat, in which the Lord or a particular deity is invoked using the proper ingredients, mantras and mudras. By this process, the pot becomes a form of the Lord or of the deity invoked, which can be worshipped with upacharas. Articles such as foot wash, arghya, offer, flowers, incense, lamps, etc. in the manner that one worships a murti. So the kalasha itself becomes the Lord. Then how to say, the coconut is the head, the leaves are the hands, the kalasha itself is the body. Yeah. Also, when we put water in the kalasha, it's only 70%, it's not up to the brim, because our body is 70% liquid. And we put also, how to say, auspicious items like supari, haritaki, some flowers, tulsi, akshata, gold, silver, copper, navaratna, pancharatna. Yeah, see, it's generally supposed to be gold, silver, or copper coin, but that's not there. So nowadays people just put a 1 rupee coin inside or like that. But okay. So then you can put. Yeah, so that you can use. Okay. Okay. So then, so basically you have the kalasha, you can put all these ingredients inside, then we already explained what the kalasha, the deity is, then you can put a cloth. There is also another thing, do you do this tying of thread on the kalasha? So that works as the lower cloth. Then you put this uttari on top, some flower on top of that, so that makes the entire personality. Then you can just you can do your your mudras for installing the person. So basically he says ihavaha or ihagacha, which means please come. Ihatishtha, please stay. Iha sannidehi, give your association. Iha sanniruddhasva, be firm with us. Iha sammukho bhava, please look at us. Right? So then there is the Sakali Mudra. You chant the Gopala mantra and then you do the nyasas. So the nyasa is, Hridayaya Namaha, Krishnaya Shrishi Swaha. Yes. We are not doing. Okay. So the first aspect is you do of welcoming. So that is actually more important. The mudras, it's secondary. This is the, so putting all that is the Kalasha Sthapana. Then what we, so when you are doing the Ihagachi Yatishtha, okay. Okay, so it is the initial part. So let's say I want to invite Krishna Balaram. So I would say Klim Krishna Balarama, Ihagacha, Ihatishtha, Iha Sannidehi, Iha Sanniruddhasva, Iha Sammukho Bhava. So that's Krishna Balaram. No need. But you can do it. That makes it more elaborate. So depending on how much time you have, you can do all those things. Yes. So depend on whom you are inviting. So let's say we are inviting Narsimhadev. So you can chant Narsimha Arati. So when you invited him, then you offer him Panchopachara Puja or Shodashopachara Puja, you will offer to him. That's when everybody can be singing Narsimha Arati. So depends on whom you are inviting, their pranam mantras, their stutis, vandanas, that you can do. So that all depends on how much time you have. Yes, yes. According to Gopal Bhatta Goswami's Satkriya Sara Deepika, Vaishnavas do not worship Ganesh. Before that, to assemble and establish the ghata as it is shown later, we should begin by touching the earth, where the ghata will be placed, chanting the appropriate mantra. There some dhan or rice paddy, the asana on which the ghata will sit, should be placed. And touching the dhan, one should chant its corresponding mantra. The pot should be placed on the dhan. Water should be added along with the auspicious ingredients, and the leaves, the coconut or banana, and some flowers should be placed on top, all with their corresponding mantras. Then with another mantra, one may worship Vaikunta Ganesh Vishwaksena. Once the ghata is assembled, one should invite the desired personalities with the nyasa mudras and mantras. Okay, so each aspect is abhimantrita. Is empowered by the mantra.
Question, Prabhuji, so when we put the rice and all, there are mantras.
Yes.
Individual
Yes. So let's say this is the ground. I touch the ground and I chant the mantra. Then on top of here, I'll put the rice paddy or akshata, and I'll touch it, and or while pouring it or after pouring, while touching it, I put the mantra. Then there is an empty kalasha. Then I put the water inside with the ingredients. Then I put the leaves, the fruit, and the flower on top of that. All of them, they have their respective mantras.
Yes, I have seen some Sri Vaishnavas, like they will establish everything, they will take
Kusha.
they will touch one by one and they
Yes. That also they do it when you have multiple kalashas. So, or, you get everything ready, and then peacefully you can then chant one by one. So that's just Brahmana's tricks of getting things done quicker with more focus. For example, like you want to chant very fast. Sometimes you have these anushtans where you have to chant a certain mantra a few 100,000 times. So then the Brahmanas will not eat anything sour, because sour makes your tongue slow. So you want to chant very fast, don't eat sour. So for that period of time, they will avoid anything sour so that they can chant very fast. It's just one of those tricks that Brahmins do. Not that it's, this is the rule. No, it's just one of the tricks. Yes, bro. No, Nyasa Mudras for your own self, not for the Lord. Because Nyasa is something which is, when you want to invoke the Lord, you use Nyasa Mudra. We have to understand the aspect also. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, anybody who chants Hare Krishna or said Krishna is a Vaishnava. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, unless and until you're on the level of Nishtha, you're not a Vaishnava. So when he says, don't perform Nyasa if you want to go to Goloka Vrindavan, that means the expectation is already you are above the level of Nishtha. Because otherwise you're not a Vaishnava. So that's the standard. That's what we want to achieve. And unless and until we achieve that, we are not going back to Godhead anyway. Because Maya Devi has her traps. No, she will just throw. You'll fall in the first trap. Somehow or other you crawled out of it. There's a second trap waiting for you. You crawl out of that, there's a third trap waiting for you. So unless and until you or we figure it out how to be 100% Krishna conscious, we are not going back to Godhead anyway. So therefore, unless you are on the level of Nishtha, you are not a Vaishnava. So and when you are not, and if you are a Vaishnava, then you don't need to do all these things. So therefore, it's not, as we were explaining to Prabhu, it's not against Shastra. But if you are interested to go to Goloka Vrindavan, make yourself pure enough by your chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra that at least your minimum standard is on the level of Nishtha. Then you can say, yes, I am interested to go to Goloka Vrindavan. Otherwise, us sitting over here, what is our goal? What are we going to do in Goloka Vrindavan? If Krishna appears right now and says, hey, let's go, how many of us are actually ready to say, okay, I'm not thinking about my family, my property, my investments. Let's go. And I'm not going to see any of this ever again in my life. How many of us are ready for this? Maybe some, maybe none. So that means our devotional service is actually not quite up there yet, because the attachments are there. And while the attachments are there, we are on the level of anartha nivritti. When slowly all these attachments will go, then we'll come on the level of Nishtha. Then we can say we are Krishna Bhakta, we are Vaishnavas. Then no need nyasas. Yes, Prabhu. It's a good thing to know.
What is the question?
See, you do for everything, no? For example, you make your monthly budget. How much how much we are going to spend for our household needs. How much, I would like to give out for donations. How much I'm going to keep aside for emergencies. How much I can, spend just for luxury. You make those goals, no? And then you work accordingly. If your needs are more, you may do overtime at your job. So unless the prayojana is known, where are we? Sri Prabhupada gives an example of traveling, right? We are traveling somewhere. We need to know where we are traveling. We want to go to Delhi and we catch a flight to Mumbai, we are not going to Delhi. So unless you know your prayojana, then you cannot function what's your sambandha and abhideya. That may be, but that means either you are 100% dedicated to Guru Maharaj, let him, wherever he takes me, that's where I'm going. So your goal is Gurudev. Yeah, so your goal is Gurudev. Your goal is not Krishna, which is perfectly fine. You understand? So you don't have to worry about that. If your goal is Guru, wherever is Guru, I'm going. Done, enough. You don't need to bother. But then, okay, with your goal as being to Guru, you have to see what pleases my Guru. What I need to do to satisfy him, to serve him. So then again, you got your prayojana. Then based on your prayojana, you will do your sambandha and abhideya. Yeah, okay.
Coming back to the japa stapana.
Yes.
During this part, we planting leaves on the floor. Then we are putting the rice dana and the kirtan on that. So this.
That's okay. That's okay.
Here also on ground directly also we can put the dana.
Yes. Yeah. See, generally what happens is you don't have tiles, you have cow dung and mud flooring. Right? On top of that, then you can build. But if you add a banana leaf there, it's okay. It's not a problem. Okay. According to Gopal Bhatta Goswami's Satkriya Sara Deepika, the Vaishnavas do not worship Ganesh, but rather replace his worship with that of Vishwaksena. So we discussed that yesterday. Okay, so let's go out to the next section because we discussed it yesterday already. Yajamana, the benefactor. The Yajamana is the person who is the sponsor or benefactor of a particular ceremony. In case of the wedding, it is the groom. In case of the samskaras concerning the wife, it is the husband. And in case of those concerning the child, it is the father. A Brahmana may perform his own ceremonies. However, if he is unable to do this, he may invite a Vaishnava Brahmana to perform or guide the rites on his behalf, act as a Ritvik. So now, it happened with me a few times. When I was graduating, before my graduation from Gurukul, I used to organize for everybody. Anybody who's getting Upanayanam, anybody who's graduating from the school, I was the person who would go organize it, chant the mantras, and I would just take care of everything. So when it came for me, I was thinking, it's a piece of cake for me, and I can just go set up. But because it's concerning me, the modes, they function in such a way that I was not able to focus. Oh, I'm forgetting this. Oh, because I want to have everything to the best. To the best of my knowledge. Okay, I forgot this. What was it? Even though I have done it 100 times before. Because of the energies, the excitement that, is there. Okay, so then I sat down and I asked my student, can you do it? So then he set up the whole thing. I was just sitting peacefully. And the ceremonies happened nicely. So that's why it's better to always ask somebody to come and do. Because unless you are dhiras tatra na muhyati, you are a very stable person, then this kind of situation happens. And it's like, okay, better somebody else comes and does it. Dakshina and Dan. According to the Vedic customs, on the completion of the ceremony, the Yajaman should satisfy the priest and the Vaishnavas with gifts and prasadam. It is said that without pleasing the Brahmanas, the ceremony has no value. As Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 17.14, Videhinam asashtannam, mantrahinam adakshinam, shraddha vairitam yagyam, tamasam parichakshate. At that sacrifice performed in deficiency of the scriptural injunction in which no spiritual food is distributed, no hymns are chanted, and no remunerations are made to the priest, and which is faithless, that sacrifice is of the nature of ignorance. Chanakya Pandit also gives another one. Chanakya Pandit was like 2,500 years ago. At one point he said, Yagyante Brahmana Ripuhu. Yagya finished, Brahman becomes your enemy. Why? Because till the Brahman, the ceremony is there, he's the Brahmana Devata. Right? You have to take care of it. You listen to whatever he tells you to do. You do all the ceremonies. As soon as the ceremony is done, now you got to take care of this guy. You have to feed him. You have to. So he becomes like, okay, a burden. And so therefore people, and it's very common that people forget the Brahman after the ceremony is done. There is a saying in Mumbai, there is a saying in Hindi, it says, Apna kaam banta, to bhaad mein jaye janta. You understand? Chanakya mentions that the yajna should be well performed according to one's ability, best ability. Otherwise, it will ruin everyone. Annahino dahedrashtram, mantrahina sharitvichaha, yajmana danahino nasti yajna samo ripuhu. There is no enemy like yajna, which consumes the kingdom when not attended by feeding on a large scale, consumes the priest when the chanting is not done properly, and consumes the yajaman, the responsible person, when the gifts are not made. Chanakya Niti 8.23. So, the king says, okay, we need to have a huge yajna, but it does not feed. at the end of the yajna. It will ruin him. The Brahmana made mistake in chanting, like, what's his name? Twashtri, Bhagavatam, the pastime of Vritrasura. So he wanted to have a son which can kill Indra. So the mantra he used was Indra Shatru Vivadasva. The enemy of Indra, please come. Now he made a mistake in the swara. It was supposed to be Indra Shatru Vivadasva. That's how he was supposed to chant. V, that little longer E. Vivadasva. Instead of, he chanted Indra Shatru Vivadasva. So the whole meaning changed. Somebody who could kill Indra became somebody who will be killed by Indra. The word is the same. And even in Bhagavad Gita, many times you see the word Brahman. Srila Prabhupada translated it as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes he translated it as the Brahma Jyoti. Sometimes he translated it as the living entity. Right? The same word, Brahman. Why? Because when you chant Brahman, it means the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When you chant Brahman, it means the Brahma Jyoti. When you chant Brahman, it means the living entity. So if the Brahmana does not chant the mantras properly, the yajna will destroy him. Like in the case of Vritrasura. Chanted the mantra wrong, he died. If the Yajaman does not offer, then he will not get the benefit. Because Yajna Purusha's wife is Dakshina. So when you do the Yajna, if the wife is not there, husband is not very happy. Right? So therefore, Dana and Dakshina has to be given. Dana means charity in kind, which would mean grains, fruits, cloth, cow, land, servants, whatever. According to the capacity of the person. And Dakshina it always refers to as cash. You see Maharaj Yudhishthira's Rajasuya sacrifice. He would give it explains there is heaps of deer skins. Why? Because whenever the Brahmins gone, he would give them deer skins. He would give them a cow, 1 cow, 2 cow, 10 cows, 1,000 cows, 100,000 cows, depending on what caliber of a Brahman he is. And then he would give, this much land belongs to you. He gave land out like that. Then on top of that, he would give Lakshmi. There is also a story of Maharaj Harishchandra. In his dream, he gave his kingdom in charity to Vishwamitra. Then Vishwamitra, he said, Dan is incomplete without Dakshina. Give me Dakshina. So he just turned to the accountant, the treasurer, and he says, give him 1,000 gold coins. He says, wait a second, the treasury came with the kingdom. So now you don't have right over the treasury anymore. Okay, I give you 1 year, go. Get 1,000 gold coins. So then he went, sold his wife at the end of the year. Sold his wife, sold his son, sold himself. Gave Dakshina to. So Dakshina always refers to cash. Dana is in kind. There is also Manu Samhita explains this Dana Dakshina should be given within the Muhurata after the completion of the Yajna. And one Muhurata is 48 minutes. If Muhurata passes, then your responsibility becomes double. 48 minutes. So your Purnahuti finished. Within 48 minutes, the Brahmana should get his Dakshina and Dan. If not, you have to give him double penalty. Then, how does it go? I think for 3 days, pass of the muhurta up to 3 days, you can give double. If 3 days passes, then you have to give him 10 times more. If a week passes, you have to give him 100 times more. If a paksha, means 15 days passes, you have to give him 100,000 times more. No, 10,000 times more. If a month passes, is 100,000 times more. And if a year passes, is 3 crore times more. So you have kept, some idea in your mind. Okay, this much I want to give him. So then multiply that by 3 crores if you didn't give it to him in 1 year. So Brahmana is never in loss. Yes. Manu Maharaj explains, Manu Samhita. The first thing you should check is what is your social status and what is your economical status. That's the first thing to check. Second thing to check is the social status of the Brahman and his financial status. Second thing to check. Third thing is how much knowledge the Brahmana has about the particular ceremony. If he actually knows it, or is just something swaha. No. And the fourth thing to check is how much endeavor he made in doing the ceremony. He may know the ceremony very nicely, but he just did something, didn't do that much hard endeavor to it. So you don't have to pay him that much. For example, let's say I am the Yajaman. You are the Brahman. I am the king of this place. You come to my house, I asked you to come and do yajna. So my social status is very high. And being a king, my financial status is also very high. So if I'm calling you, I should give dan and dakshina to my capacity. I am a beggar. I am a very, very poor person. I have almost nothing. But I asked you to come to do yajna. So from almost nothing, I should give you to the best of my capacity. Provided that you as a Brahman, you know the ceremony in the ritual very well and you perform, you make that endeavor in doing that ceremony very well. So seeing all this, you say, okay, this is how much I would like to give to the Brahman. But a Brahman is not allowed to say, I am going to do this particular ceremony, this is my charges. So if I'm doing a wedding, 50,000. If I'm doing a Griha Pravesh, 30,000. If I'm doing a Namakarana, 5,000. No. Manu Maharaj says, as soon as the Brahman fixes a rate or tells him, for this particular ceremony, you have to give me this much money, he loses the adhikar to kindle the fire. Yes. So, therefore, Brahmanas should never ask. Yes. If you say, oh, I'm going to do this ceremony, you have to give me this much money. You lost the adhikar to kindle the fire. After that, all the ceremonies you do is pap. Because as a Brahman, you did not perform your dharma properly. So you're an adharmi. When Brahman becomes adharmi, he turns into a Brahma Rakshasa. Yeah. Yeah. But see, therefore, I was just listening to my Guru Maharaj's lecture yesterday. He's talking about King Vena. King Vena. King Vena originally Brahmins thought he would be a good king. So he started good, but then very quickly he was not a very good king anymore. He was not performing the dharma right. The thievery started. He started supporting the dacoits and like that, because to make his own money more. So Brahmins kept on tolerating till the point that he said they cannot perform the religious duty. That's when the Brahmins snapped. They went, they told him, what you're doing is wrong. You get lost. Okay. Took some water, chanted mantra, killed him. After killing him, they went back to doing their own duties. Unfortunately, there was nobody to take care. So therefore, the thieves and the dacoits, they all started harassing the people. So then, okay, Brahmins came back. We need to do something. So then they started churning the body of Vena. And like that, so many personalities came out. And one of them was Prithu Maharaj. Now, Prithu Maharaj, they established him as the king. He did things properly, and so they left. Right? A Brahmin should not worry about what will happen to me. He should always be Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. That's the attitude. Krishna will always protect me in every situation. So therefore he should not be worried, oh, what if he does not give me enough? That attitude should not be there. If you have that attitude, better do something else, don't perform yajna. Because otherwise the yajna will ruin you. So,
What happens to the Yamana if he doesn't give dakshina?
it says, no, ruins him. Because he will not get the benefit of doing the yajna. There was one temple asked Gurukul to come and do Bhumi Puja for temple construction. When they did the Bhumi Pujan, came back, no dan, no dakshina given. For 3 years, they couldn't make the temple. 3 years later, one of the devotees who was part of the management is like, yeah, we are supposed to give you dakshina. And he came and gave some dakshina to Gurukul. Within 1.5 months, all those paperwork which was pending, all of them got cleared, and the temple construction started. Why? The Sukriti for constructing the temple was with us. Because we did the yajna. The Sukriti is with us. When they gave dakshina, that's when it went to the Yajaman. Therefore, they were able to construct the temple. So if you want the benefit of doing the yajna, you give dakshina. So therefore I said Brahman is never at loss. Either he comes out with the benefit of performing the yajna, or he comes back with the Lakshmi. So one should not worry.
Without asking money, he should teach to your husband what the repercussions would be.
You can explain, you can tell. Yes, bro.
Here local we have issues. See, not issues. What happens when we go some devotees' house and all, they sometimes they don't know they have to give dakshina or something. So they give some chest prasada and they give fruits. In return they give fruits. That is that okay? Or should be dakshina? Should be
Dana and dakshina. So fruits is dana. But that fruit should not be that they pick it up from the yajna kunda.
no.
Because in Mayapur, that's the thing. Yeah. The ceremony is done, then they will go pick up the fruits from the yajna kunda and give it to the Brahman. Arre Baba, that fruit belongs to me already. No, that belongs to me, originally. Because whatever is there on the yajna vedi belongs to Brahman. So I should be giving you the fruit, not that you give me the fruit and then you take the rest of the fruit, you take it home. So when they ask you, Prabhu, how much are you going to charge? That time you can say, I don't charge, but this is culture. There should be dan, there should be dakshina. And then you can explain, okay, Manu Maharaj says, if when people are too pushy, then you can say, Manu Maharaj says, these are the 4 points. Check your, look your, whatever is your status. Look the Brahman status, his hard work, and the knowledge he has. Based on that, you give whatever dakshina you feel appropriate in giving. Sometimes it ends up that, how to say, I performed a marriage ceremony, and at the end of the ceremony they gave me 100 rupees. Okay. We came back. 3 days later they said, like, Prabhuji, we were supposed to give you some Lakshmi, you only gave 100 rupees that time. Okay. I came and gave another 500 rupees, which is fine. Because, and then there was another ceremony we were supposed to do. The simple Narasimha Yagya like that. They gave 10,000 rupees. So it always works out. Because the idea is, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. When that faith is there, it will function very nicely. It may feel little bad. Why? Because there is expectation. Expectation is the cause of all suffering. Because expectation, you live without expectation. Sudama Vipra, best example. Had nothing. Want to give gift to Krishna, borrowed it from the neighbor. When he came back, who took over my house and my land? It's a huge palace here. What happened? Oh, this is yours. Why? He went there without any expectation. He just wanted to meet Krishna. Just wanted to see him after so many years. And Krishna reciprocated. So it's a very good way of experiencing the Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. He will always, definitely do it. There was one devotee in Mayapur, he was very good with Sankirtan. Every day he would go out on Sankirtan. But he had problems with money. Serious problems with money. He came to the Yagya course, learned Yagya, and then because his Guru Maharaj had said one of the things he should do is perform Yagyas. He learned. He went back, he started doing Yagyas. He's doing good now, financially. He does not have that economical pressure on his head anymore. Works out well. So, he's doing good. Why? Because he has that faith. Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. All serious faces over here. Yeah. Yes. No, you can take it for yourself. It belongs to you. So, you did the yagya, I give you the dakshina, that money, it's yours. If you decide to give it to the temple, that's your dana to the temple. It's not my dan to the temple. No. My dan dakshina is to you. Because you are the Brahman. You can do whatever you feel like with it. So you decided to give it to the temple for, whatever. That's your. Like that. That's okay. That's your, as a Brahman's, independent decision. But we cannot preach that we do the yajna for you and the dakshina will go to the temple. Yeah. Because many temples, they do that. We have a donor's yajna today. So, everybody should, whatever money you collect, whatever Lakshmi comes, goes for the temple construction. And the Brahman sitting over there, poor guy, gets nothing. That should not be the case. It happened with my father one time. There's this Hindujas, multi-millionaire people. And so temple president asked my father, their son is getting married. Son or daughter was getting married. But you will not get more than 5,000 rupees dakshina. Father is like, it's Hinduja. Like, no. Why? Because he is going to collect 5-6 crores from him for the temple. Father was like, okay, fine, no problem. Because he has to do all the work. He has to collect all the paraphernalia and everything. He said, okay. Now, what they did, okay, so doing Ghatasthapana, and there is a Satvika Vriddhi Shraddha, inviting all those people. And these people know that you're supposed to give dakshina on the kalasha. So he said, okay, now we installed Ganapati, Vishwaksena, give dakshina. So now the girl's father pulled out a 500 rupee and put it over there. Hindujas, big guys. The boy's father, ego got hurt. His girl's father is putting 500. He pulled out 1,000 rupee note, put it on. And then, he's like, okay, now Lakshmi Narayana Avahana. So, he said, Narayana is there in the Kalasha. Got 20-gram silver coin to offer as Lakshmi Devi. And then got the sari and the silk sari and silk dhoti and there is this temple president is looking, he's like so angry. Because, and see, this is a normal thing that you offer, dakshina to the Lord when he's there, you offer him vastra and all that. These are normal things. But for the temple authority, it was like all this thing is going to him, to the Brahman. So that annoyed him. But why? Yeah. When the temple president was asked to pay for my Gurukul's education, his answer was, Gurukul only generates monkeys. So why to put your son in Gurukul? So when it comes to for the devotees' payment, they didn't want to do it. And when he's getting some from somewhere, they say, oh, no, this should be for the temple. So that should not be there also. The Brahmana has done, that money belongs to him. It's his independent decision to use this Lakshmi for temple. Of course, with the dakshina comes karma. You have to have, let's say Guru Maharaj is giving initiation, but you are the Brahman sitting doing yajna. You share the karma for all those disciples sitting over there getting initiated. You went and performed a Narsimha Homa because somebody is sick. You will get that reaction. I had once, there was a ghost in the school. So they asked me to come and do yajna. We did a yajna. I didn't, like, okay, what ghost, Did the yajna. We did Purnahuti. The field behind the school caught on fire because the ghost was very disturbed. The whole field caught on fire, huge, like 10 feet tall flames from the field. And then a week later, my daughter became extremely sick because that karma came to me. Now, whatever, Krishna was merciful on me and my wife because, whatever, our sadhana and like that, but it affected my daughter. And then, because of my daughter got affected, as parents, we got affected. So, it's always there. So when you get, sadhana. Strong sadhana. That's the only remedy. Or, like you have, whatever the dakshina came, you give it to the temple. So it went to the Lord. Right? But it came through you. So if I give you the dakshina, my karmic reaction goes to you. From you giving it to the temple, it went to the temple authority. Yeah. It goes through you, but you are not the last person to achieve it. It went to Krishna. It went to Krishna. You understand? You gave it to Krishna. So that's your surrender. So therefore you will not suffer. But it went through you. Brahmana is a tough job. It's not a simple job. So with this we can conclude. Yeah.
Some of the points we can discuss Friday morning before the yajna will start.
Okay.
Because Ram Kam is up to 12. So 12 we start actually at 1 hour preparation. 11 o'clock we can start preparation. Maybe 10 to 11 we can discuss.
Okay. And tomorrow what do we do?
Tomorrow evening is the deity worship for the whole congregation.
Okay. Morning there is nothing. Okay. So for the congregation, when we are giving the deity worship class, should we even bother to take that document out? Bhaktivedanta Thakur's? Because that will be something that nobody has ever done. So should we keep it as just like a simple question answer session?
We have 2 sessions for deity.
I-
Or you can give some aspects
Okay.
like the offering.
Okay. Okay.
Then Friday morning, devotees will come up with questions. Their questions.
That would be at what time?
Morning we have Bhagavatam class, so 8 to 8:20 we will have reading Bhagavatam.
Okay.
After reading Bhagavatam, you can start question answer.
Okay.
That's around 40-45 minutes. Tomorrow also we can have half hour you can explain. Half hour.
Yeah. I can share it with you.
No, you can, if you want to hear, Prabhu has a detailed, what is that called? Through mantra. The worship. You showed me the.
Yeah. That is Bhaktivedanta Thakur's puja paddhati for home worship. He was following. It's very simple, not too complicated things, but at the same time it has all the aspects of deity worship.
Now, tomorrow, Prabhu will be mixed crowd, no? Still, we all have ready to come for
Yes. Again? Yeah. Yeah, it's when you're doing to Gaur Nitai, it's Nitai Gauranga Abhyam Namah. When you're doing to Krishna Balram, it's Krishna Balram Abhyam Namaha. When you're doing to Radha Krishna, it's Radha Krishna Abhyam Namaha. Esha Dhrupaha. This is incense offering to Gaur Nitai. That's what I'm saying. Esha Deepaha. This is lamp. Etani Pushpani. These are flowers. Idam Vastram. This is cloth. That's what it means. It's no too esoteric. We are not sharing the Bija mantra.
Unfortunately, sorry, I'm talking openly. Most of the pujaris which is doing, all the deity has a different mantra. As per my knowledge, many people, they don't ask me, they do not know.
Mm.
They are doing character lamp, 4 times, 2 times, 7 times. But each one has a mantra like Radha Krishna Paraya Namaha, Hare Namaha, then Jagannath, different mantras. Most of them they do not know.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of information.
We do one thing, Prabhu. You take that class. That will be easy.
Take the class meaning?
The one which you showed me, that
So maybe I can give it to you, we can print it out.
oh, we need print out.
Then means then the devotees can follow it at home. Otherwise, just hearing it in class is just going to create more confusion.
Is it a soft copy, Prabhu, or you have?
It's a soft copy.
Okay, then share it. We will take print out.
The soft copy.
Tomorrow you'll talk on that.
We can talk on that. And since it's Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, Paddhati, nobody will complain that it's not something made up. It's not, like, okay, this is what I feel like doing. No, this is given by the Acharya. What he was doing it, so we're just following.
So if you give Prabhuji the soft copy, he will circulate to.
Sure.
Tomorrow, so you are reciting mantra, we can circulate.
Yeah, we can do that.